All right, Andrew Easton here of the ESUCC and Jason Everett of ESU 10, and we're excited to talk a little bit today about some ideas for helping and to encourage learners to keep their cameras on. It's really frustrating, I feel like, as an educator, when you look and all you see are these dark windows with names across them, perhaps, and you're wondering, are my students engaged? Are they with me? And what's going on? And so Jason's going to share a few ideas to hopefully just encourage learners to get in the habit of doing that, right, Jason? Is really where this conversation goes?
Oh, definitely. Sometimes you don't necessarily want to force kids to turn their video on just because they might have an environment that they either don't want to or they're embarrassed by or something like that. So to force them to do that might be a little bit of a stretch, but some of these activities might encourage that use. And then, also talking about how to use different backgrounds and things like that, if it's because of their environment that they don't want to share their screen. So one of the ideas, I actually got this from Edutopia, give credit where credit's due, but it's to have them do some different games online. So at the beginning of your class, you might start off with a set of would you rather questions that relate to the content that you're teaching. And so we were doing a session the other day on global goals. And so there's 17 of those. And so I just came up with, actually I had a list beforehand, but it's pretty easy to go through some of these would you rather questions.
Oh, yeah, let's do one.
And appreciate where they would be. So would you rather lose half of your hair or lose half of your hearing? So what you do in this situation is say, give me a thumbs up if you'd rather lose half of your hair, or give me a thumbs down if you'd rather lose half of your hearing. And so by the time people can see those, you have to be able to see those, otherwise you can't participate. And I did notice afterwards that some in our session were trying to put them in the chat. I didn't know because they were in the chat and I was looking at the video. So it's pretty cool to be able to have a list like this. And it's kind of fun because some of these, you can put some really wacky ones in there. Would you rather be rich and ugly? Give me a thumbs up. Or if you'd rather be poor and good looking, give me a thumbs down. So whatever that happens to be. And so
I don't know. I would not be good being rich. That would be tough for me.
Yeah, when you've never been.
Right.
Yeah. But it would be fun to try, I'm guessing. Yeah, and that's what's fun about this too, is just being able to not only see some of their reactions and comments and how they might respond, but then being able to talk about them too. So
yeah, and so I would say for anyone kind of viewing this, Jason and I also recorded a video on icebreakers that talked a little bit about Jamboard. So certainly consider checking that one out for, I don't know, maybe places to think about utilizing some of these strategies and really setting the tone from the start of your lesson, perhaps, with questions like this.
Definitely, for sure. Yeah, this would be a great icebreaker piece to do that. And other than, thumbs up, thumbs down, you might want to mix that up a bit. One example I have is to do closed hands versus open hands. And so you might have them stand up or sit down, whatever that might be in terms of just getting them physically so that they can something that they're interacting with the camera, some opposite type things. So, hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil. Depending on, it just depends on, what you want to do and what works for you.
Yeah.
So another one I have. So this was, like I said, we were talking about global goals. And so a little intro before I was gonna show the video for it. Give me some jazz hands if you've heard about the global goals before. Give me a fist pump if you know one or more of them. Or give me the rainbow wave if you're so good that you could teach them. And so this is just another way to encourage them to get their video on, and then they can also see their cohorts in the class, and so it's just a little bit of fun that they can have.
Yeah, and you might find yourself saying too, well, would something like this be all the difference maker for actually getting a reluctant student to maybe do something like this? And I think it certainly could be. And I like the idea of maybe even starting to count these versus other sections if you're secondary, for example, and saying, you don't have to do this, but I am going to be keeping track, and we're in competition with the other classes, and you could get maybe 15 minutes off of Zoom early as a prize at the end of the week or something like that, or an extra opportunity to play a game for whoever accrues the most. And a little bit of that, this works in the classroom too, some of that social peer, I don't know, just pressure. I don't want to say like peer pressure, but there is something to being part of something bigger than yourself that brings in a level of investment that I think that these can certainly be tied with. It'd be really fun.
Oh, for sure. I totally agree. And if you guys have any other ideas, I'd love for you to share them, and we can get them out there to other people who'd like to do some video type games to encourage people to turn on their cameras.
Yeah, absolutely. And we also have a little bit of a scavenger hunt one, right?
Oh, yeah, that would be a good one too. So what you could do is have, for example, within reach, so they have to stay within their camera reach. Does anybody have a stack of Post-it notes? And then they would have to hold up their Post-it notes. Does anybody have within your reach a coaster? And so you can go around and just do different things, but lots of just little things to encourage them to turn on their camera. You could even have them draw a picture. So if you wanted them to be a superhero, so they have to draw a picture of what their superhero might be and then hold that up to the camera. So
I'm the guy that flies.
That's right.
So I'm having a good time here. It's good to think through some of these things and to bring a little personality to, I think, that Zoom and what I like about your examples here too is it's been sort of non-threatening, right? It hasn't been, oh my gosh, I'm going to visually show you that I have no idea what we're talking about. And I think it can certainly get to a place where you're asking more content specific questions, but it's really great that these have been all opportunities to just sort of voice your opinion or preferences and personality.
Yeah, definitely. And I agree with you completely about that. Maybe being embarrassed about not being able to do something. So keep it really light at the classroom level. But as you start breaking off into small groups, as the teacher's going around to those breakout rooms, they might ask more intense questions or harder questions to be able to do that. And so it's not as intimidating with a smaller group as it is the whole group.
Yeah. Well, Jason, thank you so much for stretching our thinking a little bit about how we might encourage learners, even though we're not going to require it, but encourage them to keep their cameras on so we can be interactive. And I feel better as presenters too and leaders of the class because we get a chance to really truly connect in that face-to-face virtual setting.
Definitely.